So this meeting is being recorded, so we can share that with others online afterwards or through email. So the first guideline that I want to share with you is to please be aware of your surroundings. So please look and see what's behind you, and be around that. We can't hear you, so that's not the distraction, but just be careful about what's behind you, because everybody else can see that as well. As I mentioned, everybody is muted, and so if you have a question in the chat section, and it depends if you're watching it, doing this on your phone or on an iPad or tablet or desktop, but look for that chat section. That's where you'll ask a question, and then at the end of the three speakers, myself, Aron, and Rhonda, we will try best we can to answer questions. So take a look and see what those questions that are being answered, because you might have that same question, and so we'll address those at the very end. So each of us will have about 10 minutes to share an update. At the end of those 10 minutes, when all three of us finish speaking, and then we'll try to address the questions there. I do have a waiting room set up, so every now and then I'm having to go in and bring folks into the call. Right now we have 37 folks on the call. So I'll start with doing a quick update on the chamber. As you may or may not know, the staff is still here in this building. And so if you've been here to the chamber's office, you know that it's large enough that we can easily keep our distance from each other. It's something kind of funny, but it's also valuable. I didn't know that it was going to be valuable at this point, is that we have 4 different restrooms. So we've each assigned ourselves a different restroom, which is kind of funny, but it's very useful right now. And so we really can keep our distance. We are not, for the protection of the public and for staff, we are not accepting any visitors at this time. If somebody has a delivery, I'll try to greet them at the door, and they can just leave it at the door, and we'll deal with that when it happens. As I mentioned at the very end of this meeting, we are going to have some very helpful hints. I'll have a PowerPoint that I will share at the very end of this meeting, and so you may want to get a screenshot of it. Again, we'll send it. When we share this meeting later, you'll be able to get it there as well. But it'll be some important links. And so Rhonda and Aron, I took the liberty of grabbing links to your websites, so folks can get some additional information there, and some additional sites as well. So I mentioned about the chamber being open, but as you can imagine, it's been an incredibly busy time. We are fielding calls from members, from the community at large, trying to work with our elected officials at all levels, both at the city, county, state, and national level, to make sure that we have the correct information. I have the privilege to being on a Facebook group with about 9,000 chamber professionals around the country. And as you imagine, sometimes folks are disseminating information that's not 100% correct. It's pretty correct, but it's not 100%. We want to make sure that when we send something out to you, that we share it, that it's as updated as possible. Things are changing, and so we're really pleased with the partnership that we've had with our elected officials to be able to, and staff, to get us that information. The pandemic is also providing us an opportunity to really pivot and demonstrate our relevancy in a different way. And so when I think about each of your organizations or businesses, many of you, or those that aren't closed, are having to adjust how you interact with your clients. And so we're doing the same. And so this Zoom call is one of those things that we're doing. And I think it's working. We had a board chamber conference call about 2 weeks ago. And so while that's good, we thought using the Zoom format, Brenda Hooker was great in her comments to me. She said, Ray, people want to see each other. They want to feel connected to each other. And so I totally agree with that. And so that's one of the reasons we want to continue to do those. So we're going to find those opportunities. And so I know we do quite a bit of events. And so we're going to try to see how we can pivot and change the format of some of our networking activities to still be engaged. It'll just be a little bit comedic, I think, at the very beginning of doing this. And so it'll be kind of fun. We'll be learning this process together. But I'm watching what other chambers around the country are doing, and some of them are just hilarious. So it'll be a good time, I promise. So Small Business Breakfast, which is scheduled for April the 9th, we will host a Small Business Breakfast, albeit we will not be in the same room together. We'll have to use a Zoom format to do that. So people can start checking in at 7:45 on April the 9th. We will be sending out an email to all our members on how to all this particulars. We will allow a sponsor 5 minutes to share, just like we do. But also, one of the formats that we're changing, and Daiquiri Bibi mentioned this, and I totally agree. We want to make sure that we are providing folks the opportunity to engage. And sometimes when we have a small business breakfast, we can go an hour and a half. And so we want to make sure that we're respectful of people's time. And so at the very end, maybe we'll do still some door prizes. We'll have to figure out how we do that. But it'll keep people to be in the room the entire time. And so we're going to look at some of those things. But right now, the Small Business Breakfast is scheduled for April the 9th, although it'll be on a Zoom call. The one change we will be making is that everyone will have 30 seconds. And the good thing about Zoom is the timekeeper, in that I will hold up a sign. It may say you have 5 seconds left, and then we can go in and mute you. So it's better than a cowbell to end that portion of your presentation. So and so there's some other particulars that we'll look at that. We also want to talk to Farmhouse. Brian is going to announce on that call a special that he's going to do for the day of the breakfast. And so anybody that's on the call for the day of the breakfast, Farmhouse Cafe will offer a special discount. The details of the discount you'll have to be on the call to find out. And so it'll be for the purchase that day. I haven't talked to our preferred partners, chairs, or for leads, but I would encourage them to do the same thing. There's no reason they couldn't still continue to meet using the Zoom format. And so we want to encourage them to do that. So right now we don't have a sponsor for April, but we just shifted a little bit. We do have a sponsor for May, and it'll be Sam Houston State University's hotel. And so I want to thank Christy and the folks there for stepping up and being the sponsor for that. I want to close there, and we're going to move on so I can help manage people entering. We have people coming into the waiting room. Right now we have 50 folks on this call. I want to thank this whole last 3.5 weeks has been pretty hectic, but I want to thank our city manager, Aron Kulhavey, and the director for the Small Business Development Center at Sam Houston State University, Rhonda Ellisor, for getting on this call. We are planning to host another call like this with some other stakeholders next week. I still am trying to get the details on that. And so, Rhonda, you may be one that we bring back every week, but certainly if there's somebody at the Small Business Administration that we want to have come and join us, we definitely welcome that. So again, want to thank you all for getting on this call with us today. It is important that we continue to stay connected. It's important that we support each other. And with that, I'm going to open up the mic. And Aron, your mic and my mic will both be on. So if you have a question for me, and then folks, if you have a question for Aron or for any of us, just put it on the right side in the chat box, and then we'll answer those questions at the very end. And if you don't have any questions, I will ask some questions that people have been calling and asking me about. So Aron, the floor is yours.
Ray, thank you very much. And as Ray said, I'm Aron Kulhavey. I'm the city manager for the city of Huntsville, and was just asked to kind of provide an update of what we're doing at the city. and how we can help everybody right now. So just as a reminder where we stand right now, the governor's orders basically closed all non-essential businesses and keep schools closed until May the 4th. And the other thing that's very important to us, and one of the things that we're working on is we're still under a curfew from midnight until 5 a.m. So that is something that the city's enforcing. The city does remain open for business with some modifications, and we are doing everything we can possible to accommodate our citizens. Our emergency management staff is assisting with the Walker County Emergency Management Team, who has really taken the lead in response to this event. So we're just kind of working a secondary role and working with them to help manage the overall community response. Our public safety personnel are working in their normal shifts and taking precautionary measures whenever they're in contact with the public. Our police department is charged with enforcing the curfew and will also be in charge of having those businesses closed that were deemed non-essential by the governor. But in general, public safety is our calls are down and things are going a little bit slower for them. So that's a little bit of good news on this. I do want to say that all of our emergency responders do have appropriate PPE and are prepared as best they can for contact with individuals who have been affected by the coronavirus. One of the other services that we offer that's critical to everybody every day is water and sewer services. Those will continue to be available as normal. The only exception there is if you go to pay your water bill, we've made a couple of changes to the building here. The utility billing office is closed to the public, but you can pay your bill either by going through the drive-through, can pay it online at huntsvilletx.gov, or you can take care of the bill over the phone at 291-5431. So we've really had people adjust to that, and it seems to be going very, very well. Another service that we do, solid waste or your trash pickup, is on normal schedule, and we don't see that changing in the future. The transfer station is open, so if anybody needs to haul some trash out there, they are open for business and doing things as normal. Something that's very important to the private side in town is permitting and inspection offices. Those permitting and inspection offices are operating as normal, with just one exception. The service center is also closed to the public. However, we are accepting building plans and inspection requests over the phone and online, and plans can be delivered to the service center, and we can pick those up and make arrangements for that delivery. One thing that's pretty neat is it has also kind of expedited our electronic plan submittal and plan review. So it is something that we are working towards a lot more rapidly than we would without this. I'd like to remind everybody of one very important phone number for the city for all non-emergency related calls not related to public safety, any water breaks, sewer breaks, or any questions in general about the city. You can call 294-5700, and that number really serves as our non-emergency dispatch. All of the information that I provided you is in effect right now through April 30th, and the council will consider extending that deadline or looking at really how long we want to go under these conditions at their next meeting on April 7th. What's really interesting and neat about the meeting on April 7th is it will be the council's first virtual meeting ever. We will be conducting the city council meeting very much like we're conducting this meeting now. It will be held online via teleconference, and attendance information will be posted on the agenda when we have that posted online at some point tomorrow. And that agenda can be found on the city's website at huntsvilletx.gov/agenda. And the council will be doing business as normal at that meeting. A couple of things of interest that the council will consider. The first one is to waive late fees and penalties for late payment of water and sewer bills. And they'll also look at delaying the reporting period for our hotels and motels and give them some extra time to submit their reports and their local hotel occupancy tax payments. That's something that we have had a lot of requests from citizens, and it gives us an opportunity to help them out during this difficult time. Finally, the city is working to promote the census. And so that's something that's very, very important to us. And because a lot of our normal permanent residents aren't here currently, it's very, very important that everyone be counted. It is very important to us that the count is directly related. I'm sorry. It is very important to us as this count and the census is directly related to the amount of dollars we receive in emergency management times such as this. So if you have not filled out your census already, please, 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 please do so. I want to wrap up by saying staff is here to assist everyone in getting through this event. We are here. We're part of this community. We're here with you. And we will be there alongside you as we all recover from this event. So, Ray, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity just to share where the city is during everything that's going on and to let everyone know that we're doing everything we can to keep business, our business operating as normal. So hopefully they can keep their businesses running as close to normal as possible.
Aron, thank you so much for being here. We do have some questions for you that we'll share at the very end after Rhonda makes her update and shares some information with folks. So Aron, if you'll hang tight with us, we'll ask those questions. And folks, if you have questions for me or for Aron or Rhonda, please put them in the chat section, and then I will read those questions out loud and have them answer it. So hang tight with us just a bit. Rhonda, you have the floor.
All right, good morning. Ray, thank you for doing this. The Chamber has done an outstanding job of getting the information out there, and the U.S. Chamber as well. A lot of you we've been working with as small businesses, and I want to just take a minute to thank Kim McLaren. She's one of our long-term advisors here at the Small Business Development Center, does an outstanding job, and has spent a lot of time on the phone these last couple of weeks. We are the Small Business Development Center. We're part of the Texas Gulf Coast region with the University of Houston, and we're hosted here in Huntsville by Sam Houston State University and the College of Business. We're also a partner of the Small Business Administration, and with that, we offer free business assistance to small businesses, free and confidential business assistance in Huntsville and all of the surrounding counties. So we are open for business. We're helping businesses every day, every minute, talking on the phone. We're not able to meet in person because of our policies that have been presented to us, but we are able to take phone calls and work back and forth with email and Zoom. So if you haven't reached out yet and you need help, please do so. We're here to help you. A lot of things are happening, a lot of things that have never happened before with the SBA and the way they're handling things. So a lot of people are learning as they go. So we would just ask that you be patient, especially with the passage of the new CARES Act that happened just this past Friday. It opened up a lot of opportunity for small businesses, again, but the people that are providing those resources are having to get it all together in a short amount of time. I think they're doing a great job. The SBA is offering webinars consistently every day. There's a schedule. All of the things I'm going to tell you about this morning, you can call the Small Business Development Center and we will assist you, walk you through the processes, answer questions. You can also email or go to our website. So I'm going to tell you a lot about the opportunities that are available. I'm going to cover it quickly. The details we'll have to talk individually. But Friday, they passed the CARES Act. Again, that put out some opportunities for small businesses. I'm going to talk about the two today that are available for affected and eligible businesses. One is the Paycheck Protection Program loan. That's being offered through local banks and financial institutions. The other one is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. You'll hear it referred to as the EIDL loan. That's available to all small businesses. It's actually a loan directly from the SBA, available online. So I'll cover both of those. I'm going to start with the EIDL loan. That's available now. It's available online. It gives businesses an opportunity to make a loan of up to $2 million. There's no payment that has to be made on that loan for the first 12 months. And the interest rate is very affordable at 3.75%. For nonprofits, it's 2.75%. They also give you a long time to make the payments back, up to 30 years. It's for small businesses, small ag co-ops, and private nonprofits. They're the ones that are eligible. And that money can be used for fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, and bills affected by the disaster. And when it started, they were asking for a lot of documents, a lot of financial information, but I think at this point they've really streamlined the process, and you can get the loan simply based on your credit score. So the question I think we get asked the most is that loan forgivable? Because there's been a lot of talk about the forgivable loans. No, that is not a forgivable loan. It's a very affordable, very easy to get loan. It's really unique that they're not offering a personal guarantee. They're not, requiring a personal guarantee or collateral until you get over $200,000. And then there is some requirement for collateral, but even at that, it's only if you have it, and it's not anything specific that has to happen. So they're trying very hard to make these readily available, easy to get, and keep businesses open and keep employees on the payroll. There is no cost to apply for either of the loans that I'm going to tell you about. And then there's also no obligation to take the loan. You apply, you talk to a loan analyst about your situation, and if you decide not to take the loan, you don't have to take the loan. Again, if it's under $200,000, there's no guarantee required. If it's over $200,000, they'll ask for a guarantee from all of the 20% or greater owners. And again, the collateral, that will be decided on a case-by-case basis, but you won't be declined because of a lack of collateral. So this is very unheard of to be able to get a loan that easy. And it's also unheard of to get a loan directly from the SBA, but that's what's happening. I said it wasn't forgivable, and that's the difference in one of the differences in the two loans, but it does come with a federal grant. And basically, every person who applies for the EIDL loan, which is done online, at the end of the loan process, they will ask you, would you like to be considered for an advanced grant? If you select that, you could get up to $10,000 that you can use right away to pay your employees, to keep the employees that you have on the payroll, to pay your rent or your mortgage payments, pay for obligations that you can't meet because you've lost revenue. And that advance will be put in your bank account automatically. They'll ask you for your bank routing number, and they'll ask you for your bank account, and you can have that actually within 3 days in your bank account ready to use. It will simply be determined by self-certification, and they do remind people that there's laws involved in that, and you have to be truthful and honest, and the consequences are severe, but it is simply by self-certification that you need the money, and you could have the $10,000. Now that grant is truly a grant, and it does not have to be paid back. The great thing about that as well is if you when you get the call from your loan analyst and they talk about your situation, you decide you don't want the loan that you've applied for that's part of this grant application, then you can simply decline the loan and you still do not have to pay this grant back. So this will put money in your bank account immediately to help pay the cost to keep your doors open, keep your employees on the payroll, cover your cost of liabilities that you have. So that's about the EIDL loan. We can answer a lot of questions about that, but we'll need to do that individually. The payroll protection program, that is going to start tomorrow, April the 3rd. It will be available through your local banks, actually through banks all over, but banks, financial institutions, and others that have been approved by the SBA to make these loans. Again, available tomorrow. So there's still a lot of the facts that are being determined. Actually, most of the facts have been determined, but they're just getting their process in order to be able to service everyone and make sure that they're on the same page as the SBA and everybody's on the same page. So be patient with that as well. I know everyone's working hard to make these loans available. Our suggestion to our client has been to go to your bank that you have a relationship with, start there. Even if you think they're not SBA approved, go to them, talk to them. They may be becoming SBA approved. If they're not, and if they don't intend to, then I'm sure they'll give you advice about who they think you should go to, or they'll give you advice moving forward. And then you can go to other banks or lending institutions to ask for this loan. And you can also come to us and we'll help direct you if needed. The payroll protection program, that's what it's called. It's intended to help small businesses with payroll and other operating expenses. And this is the one that you've heard so much about that comes with the forgiveness. And basically what the SBA has said that they will forgive the portion of the loan proceeds that you use to cover the first 8 weeks of payroll cost. And that's the first 8 weeks after you get the loan, the rent, the utilities, and mortgage interest. Now, 75% of that has to be payroll. And the whole intention of the payroll protection program is just what it says. It's to protect payroll. It's to keep your employees on the payroll, keep them working, and keep your doors open. So it's really a good deal. I'll tell you more about the details in just a second, but this loan is for businesses that have less than 500 employees. And it also includes sole proprietorships, independent contractors, and self-employed persons. It also includes private nonprofit organizations and 501c19 veteran organizations. Certain businesses that have more than 500 employees, if they meet the SBA size standards, they also will qualify. And then hospitality and food industry businesses with more than one location, they don't have to worry about their number of employees as long as each location has under 500 employees. The details on this loan, you will need to talk to your bank, your financial institution, whoever you're getting your loan from, just to make sure that, that their information is what I'm telling you. But the way we understand it, it's a loan that will mature in 2 years. And it comes with an interest rate of 0.5%. That's unheard of. 0.5% interest rate, maturity of 2 years. They're also deferring payments for 6 months, and there's no collateral and no guarantees required. Again, pretty much unheard of. And the government or your lenders will not charge you any fees. And that's one thing that we're really emphasizing to our clients is with this going on and the loans that are available and the forgiveness and the grant money, there's a lot of scams that are already happening. And we encourage everyone when you're going through this process to be sure that you're paying attention, talking to people that are in authority and that know what's going on. Watch your emails, make sure it's coming from a legitimate email. And if someone's trying to charge you a fee, don't do it. Talk to us, talk to the bank, talk to someone about it. Don't pay a fee. Now, with that said, there may be an opportunity for accountants and different people like that to actually work with clients and charge them a fee. It's a set fee, but that's separate. That's something that the businesses can do on their own if they choose to do so. But For the bank loans, you will not be charged any fee. Now, the forgiveness part, the forgiveness of the loan will be based on you, the employer, maintaining or quickly hiring employees and maintaining the salary levels that you were before before this happened. And it will be reduced if the full-time headcount declines or if salaries and wages decrease. It's fully forgiven if the funds are used for payroll cost, interest on mortgages, rent, and utilities. And at least 75% of that forgiven amount must have been used for payroll. So that kind of gives you an overview of both of the opportunities that are available. Some of the most asked questions, can I apply for both? Yes, you can apply for both. A lot of people have already applied for the EIDL loan because it's been out there for over a week. And now they want to apply for the PPP loan with the banks. You can do that. You just can't use, you can't have the same benefits with both loans. So you can't basically what they're calling double dip. You'll have to be very specific about that when you're talking to your loan officers. And then to get the forgiveness, you will have to show proof. You'll have to submit your invoices and your payroll information for that to be forgiven. So I hope that information helps you. Please know that the Small Business Development Center is here to help you, again, free and confidentially, and we are available by phone and by email. So please don't hesitate to reach out and ask for help. That's what we're here for.
Rhonda, that was fantastic. Aron, I also have your mic on, so whenever one of us three are speaking, we will pop up as a speaker view. So Rhonda, thank you. We have quite a few questions, and I will just go down as they've been asked. Some of them may have been asked and answered already. The first one question I have, and some were emailed to us separately. For 501(c)(3) organizations, Rhonda, you can answer this. This is for nonprofits. It's my understanding they can apply for the PPP, but not the PPP, but they can apply for the disaster relief, which has a grant of up to $10,000 with those stipulations that you outlined. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so the other one, Aron, this is for you. Folks asked if if the county or the state had some restrictions like the curfew, but other restrictions on businesses being opened, like right now we know restaurants and bars can't have patrons sitting inside enjoying their refreshments. Will the city play a role in helping enforce those guidelines provided by the state and the county?
Yes, the city will play a role in enforcing those guidelines. Any law enforcement agency, whether that be DPS or sheriff's deputies or the city's police department, can enforce those regulations. So we'll be in charge of enforcing those inside the city limits of Huntsville.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that update. Let's see here. This next question. Aron, about water. And so I know you're still working through the process right now of finding particulars, but have y'all started having conversations about utilities? If someone is a current customer is unable to pay their utilities, either deferring that or making sure that their utilities are not, that the city's in charge of, are not cut off, such as water?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. We suspended utility disconnects for non-payment about 2 weeks ago. So if somebody can't pay us, we won't turn off their water, sewer, and garbage at this time. Council will take up for consideration at their next meeting some possible forgiveness of late fees and penalties.
Cool. So again, folks, he's not saying that the forgiveness of the services you've received, just that there may be a possibility of forgiveness of late fees attributed to the services that someone utilized may happen. But right now there is no cutting off of those utilities. Thank you for that information. So another question was asked, is the visitor center at the chamber still open? Absolutely. The kiosk that we have in front is open. We are monitoring that. We've had some issues with folks spending more than just a few minutes browsing, some overnight visitors in that kiosk. And so, but right now we are keeping it open, so folks can still come by and grab a map or get a magazine or some information on a business. That very front kiosk is still open for the general public to come into. Let's see, Debbie Townley asks, where do we find a list of small business lenders in Walker County for the CARES Act? Rhonda, do they have to go? I know you said just go to your banker, but let's say somebody doesn't have necessarily someone here locally that they're working with. Is there a list through your organization or through the SBA where folks can find?
They can call us for the information, or you can go to sba.gov/TX/Houston, and they'll have a list. But just keep in mind that there are a lot of institutions that are currently working on getting approved, so that will continue to increase. But I would just highly recommend you talk to someone personally if you can.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing is, just because your financial institution isn't currently in that approved list doesn't mean that they may not become approved quickly. So please work with those that you have a relationship first and give them the opportunity to quickly get accredited if they're not currently with this process. Rhonda, if folks wanted to get a list of your notes, I guess they can find that information on the SBA's website that we're going to share here in just a bit.
Yes.
Okay. And also I will also share a link to the SBA website that where you can apply for the loans here in just a minute. And then someone asked about a small, Kimberly asked a small business. It's a sole proprietor. They're the only ones that do this, and so support their business. So I would take example, let's say someone is a professional speaker. That's what they do for a living. And so obviously they're not going out to conferences and doing public speaking now. Both programs would provide some relief for them?
Yes, exactly. Both, they can apply for both.
Okay, but again, the cost the things that are going to be covered are going to be rent, utilities, payroll, and what else?
Well, with the EIDL loan, all expenses, they can use it for all of their expenses. And they can also use the PPPL for all their expenses as well. They just can only be reimbursed for those portions. I mean, forgiven for those portions. Nice.
And that's for the EIDL loan. That's the first $10,000. Is that correct?
That's the one that comes with a $10,000 grant, but it's a $2 million up to a $2 million loan. And when you go to apply for that, you won't actually have to put in the amount of money you're trying to borrow. They're going to determine that based on your expenses. You'll need to have your expenses for the past 12 months, income and expenses, and they'll talk you through that, and they'll determine a loan amount for you. Again, talking with you and making that decision. And then the grant comes with the application. Whether you're accepted for the loan or not, you still would get the grant, and that comes within 3 days of you applying.
Fantastic. And so we have someone that applied for the EIDL grant or loan program, and so they applied on Monday night. That hasn't probably been processed. It was my understanding they won't start being processed initially until tomorrow. Do we have an estimate of when those payments will, if they're not being deferred, when those payments will begin?
Well, as we just discussed, the grant amount will be within 3 days deposited into their bank account. And then it could take 3 weeks to get this processed, is what they're shooting for, what they're telling us, 3 weeks. And what will happen is your first draw, your first amount will be $25,000. And they're trying to do that as quickly as possible within, I think, a week or two. And then they'll discuss with you the rest of the draws, the rest of the amount.
So the next question we have from Susan Ellis is asking, can contract labor be covered under the PPP? And so for a business, let's say you have temporary help coming in for contract labor, or your typical business is you're a landscaper and you have contract labor, is that covered under PPP?
Yes, contract labor, independent contractors, 1099s, yes, counts as toward your payroll. And again, you'll just need to show documentation of that.
Okay, the next question, for a sole proprietor, and if you are a direct sale, so let's say I work through my home-based business for Mary Kay or business like that, will either of these programs be able to assist me?
Yes, sole proprietorship. As a sole proprietor, you can do both.
Okay.
You can apply for both, yes.
So it'd probably be relief on the income side rather than the payroll side, because they're not receiving any payroll 100%.
Correct. The EIDL loan would make the most sense.
The EIDL loan will make the most sense. Okay.
But I'm not saying don't look at the other one. I mean, again, it's new, so it wouldn't hurt to take a look at the information out there. But yes, the EIDL loan would certainly help.
Awesome. Let's see, what other questions? And that is, I've gone through just about every question that we have there. There's certainly, I'm going to share some links here in just a second. But before we do that, I want to thank you all. We have 50 folks on this call. Thank you all for being here. Rhonda, Aron, thank you so much. I know this is really, really useful for myself and for others, that we can hear directly from the things that our stakeholders, our partners, our advocates in the community are doing on our behalf. So let's make sure that we try to be kind and patient during these times. I know it's frustrating. For me, that's a very, I was teasing with my wife, for me, that's extrovert. It is painful to not have the interaction. So we want to make sure that we're just being kind to each other. I have another question just came up. So I'll read it exactly as it says. Can you go over times on the PPE? I think she means PPP loan again. You said 25, it says 1,000 in 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, that was the EIDL loan. Yeah. On the EIDL loan, you'll get your grant money within three days, deposited it into your bank account, and then they're trying to give out the first $25,000 of the loan within a couple of weeks, and as expedited as possible, because the whole goal of these loans is to keep business open, keep employees on the payroll. So as quickly as possible, the $25,000 would be distributed, and then the others would be discussed. That's on the EIDL loan. On the PPP loan that you're doing with your local financial institutions, that will be immediately. The loan will be immediately, and that'll be a discussion with your financial institution, your loan officer, as to how they want to do that.
Okay. Unfortunately, because I hadn't uploaded the PowerPoint yet, I can't share the links I was going to. What I will do is I will email them out to, if I can do it just to people on this call or to the entire membership, I will email that out today. I do want to remind you about a couple of websites. So Aron, will you give us the call letters for your website, whichever one you want to direct us to?
I can. It's HuntsvilleTX.gov, and that gets you to everything you need to know about the city.
Perfect. Rhonda, will you do the same?
Yes, it's shsu.edu/SBDC. that will take you to our regional SBDC website, which has a ton of information, a lot of links to go to, and then you can also select your closest SBDC to work with from that site.
So we do have a little bit more time. We have some more questions coming in, so I want to make sure that we answer them since we have the time. Somebody asked specifically, they applied, or Lisa applied for the EDL loan today, and today is the third day. They haven't spoken to anyone. Should they still expect to see a deposit, or will those start tomorrow?
Well, we're waiting to see that. That's the plan. It's supposed to be within 3 days. But Lisa, if you're concerned, I would suggest you call the help number. It's 1-800-659-2955. And from what I understand, they've hired a lot of people. They're open 24 hours, 7 days a week, so that you don't have to wait long to get an answer. And if you don't want to make that call to the 800 number, you can go to Disaster Customer Service at sba.gov and send an email. But I would say just be patient. If you haven't received something, if it's been over 3 days, the fourth day, maybe make that call to the 1-800 number. Just be sure to have your application number that they gave you when they confirmed your application.
Can you repeat the number to the help desk again?
Yes, the help desk is 1-800-659-2955.
Thank you. And then for the question, is it specifically up to $10,000?
The grant? What's the question?
Let me find Lisa and I can unmute her and she can ask the question directly. There you are, Lisa. Hold on one second. Lisa, you want to ask the question?
Sure. That was just the follow-up. And just so that you know, Rhonda, I did call and I was person number 743 in the queue.
Oh, wow.
So, and I've tried 3 times now.
Okay. So, they did suggest there are peak hours. Don't call from like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That seems to be the peak times.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of people trying to get help and get answers. I would say be patient. It hasn't been 3 days yet. I think today's the 3rd day that it's been available.
Right.
So I would just be patient, wait and see what happens. Maybe send an email to that disaster customer service email, or try again at a different time. That's a problem they're having everywhere with the Texas Workforce Commission, the SBA. There's a lot of people that are seeking help.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then great question, Lisa. Thank you for asking and the follow-up. I want to remind folks, even for Zoom, right? Zoom has always provided a free format for folks to do conference calls. As of yesterday, they suspended that program. Sometimes I wish I had bought some Zoom stock about 3 months ago. But so it is going to take time. All the systems have been overwhelmed. I want to give a special shout out to the grocery stores in our community, Walmart specifically and H-E-B. Their warehouses have plenty of product. It's just the pathways and the systems to getting the product into the stores have been overwhelmed. And so they just can't get it in fast enough. There's only so many trucks that exist and they only have so much capacity. You can't put more stuff in a truck. So again, like this and with all things, we just, I know it's frustrating. Just be patient. One of the things that I did yesterday is while I was still doing work, I just called somebody and I just put on hold, and it was, it's going to be 45 minutes. Okay, well, fine. I just keep it there and, continue to do my work. And God forbid that would hang up on me, because that would even make me more frustrated. But those things are going to happen. So again, want to thank you all. Again, I apologize. I don't have the PowerPoint screen to send you. I will share it. I will close by mentioning the Chamber. About almost a month ago, we created a web page on our website. If you go to the front page of the Chamber's website, at the very top left, there is a link called Open for Business COVID-19. If you click on that, it will give you a list of resources, certainly the SBA, SBDC, the city, the county, the White House. It'll give you a list of all the restaurants. We're calling the restaurants, if not weekly, twice a week, to find out what their formats have changed so folks can get to them. We can't include everyone, every business, but we've also included the grocery stores there, the bakeries that are members of the chamber as well. And so we're going to continue to keep this updated. Take a look at our Facebook page if you're not following it there. But we are still planning for Fair in the Square. We're still planning for Diva Night. We're not going to cancel events. We will postpone them as much as we can. As you may know, the Discover Local has been rescheduled to September the 1st. And so folks, just hang in there. Please know that we're all working on your behalf. Again, want to thank you all for coming and joining us today. We do have a lot of work in front of us. And I'm going to look one more time. Oh, there's a couple more questions real quick. Shot in the Dark is still a go. We have a alternate date, but right now we're still scheduled for May the 12th. And somebody asked about are child care centers open, including to be open? Currently, from my understanding, they are still allowed to be open right now. There isn't a mandate for them to be closed. I know some child care centers have put processes in place where children have to be left at the entrance. No parent is allowed to enter the building to take safeguards and try to help them be as sanitized as possible. Oh, that's right. Golf tournament is May the 15th. Thanks, Sean, for letting me know. But child care centers are considered essential. Again, I would just reach out if you have a relationship with any business. Reach out to them and see what their current update is, whether they're open or not, whether it's a school or it's others. I know as of today, all salons and barbershops were closed, so we're gonna. I'm gonna have to go get some trimmers or something pretty soon. But anyway, again, I'm gonna go ahead and end the call. We could be here for a while, so thank you all so much. We will be emailing that information out, and we emailing you with information on the call that we'll have next week. Please share the information that you've heard here today with folks. And again, Rhonda and Aron, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. Y'all have a great day, folks. Take care.
Thank you, Ray.